Traditionally, men are seen to be protectors and providers. When you observe nature, you see that that's the way it is with every male aspect of nature. When you look at every male aspect of nature, it stands to be as a protector to complement the female version. That's just the way it is in nature. So we as humans are no exception. And when we are talking about the male bringing into a relationship 50% and the female bringing into a relationship 50%, we have to take into consideration different aspects in society. And some of those considerations are social construct. The social construct of this world places men in a better position to be able to access employability. It is a social construct which works against women, whereby women are taken advantage of, are subjugated, have to work twice or more harder than the male counterparts to be able to access some opportunities in life. So it favors the male gender better when it comes to economics. As well, patriarchy. Patriarchy is another aspect that also works against women. The world is fashioned in a patriarchal form, whereby the male is seen above the female. In most cases, women have to look up to men or be dependent on men. And that's why ideologies like feminism is rising up, because the women are fed up of such systems. So they have to fight back to get themselves in position, to get themselves in line, to let the male gender understand that whatever human rights they exhibit, the female gender as well would like to access such human rights of being able to access opportunities from having to depend on the male gender. So when we are talking about the 50-50, this has to be taken into consideration. Do these male who agree into relationships of a 50-50 type put all this into consideration? Because if 50-50 were to be taken into account, then the male gender should understand that the level of accessibility to things like employability and the ability to excel in most careers is actually lower when it comes to the female gender. The female gender have to work twice as much. So if this male gender, for example, is bringing home a salary of £100,000 a year, has this male gender understood that the female gender might not be able to bring home such salary, not because they lack capability, but because they lack such level of opportunity? If there's an instance of a 50-50 relationship, if the man is bringing in 100,000 a year and the woman struggles to bring in 100,000 a year, where does this 50-50 come into place? If he brings in out of his 100,000 a year 50,000 and the woman only is able to afford, for example, 50,000 a year, is she going to bring in 25,000 of her money, or is she going to place down the 50,000 of her money because the male gender is contributing 50,000 a year? So when we take this instance into consideration, for example, how does that play out? How is that 50-50 fair? There's no fairness in that, because the woman has put in all her ability into contributing the 50,000, and that 50,000 is all she's got. Is she now going to put in the 50,000 because there's a 50-50 relationship here? As we have come to understand that the 50-50 relationship usually comes into place because of the economics involved in it, is usually not because of other aspect of the relationship is mainly because of the economics, the finances, the burden that the social construct of the world places on every individual, whereby we all have to work so hard to pay off those bills, to pay to look after the children, to pay to feed ourselves, to pay to put roof over our head. Everything in the world is about money. You need money in order to be able to make these payments. So when two people are considering a 50-50 relationship, you need to consider these options as well. You need to consider the social construct, the patriarchy type of system in the world that works mostly against the female gender. And is the female gender as well taking into consideration the level of burden that she's placing on herself when agreeing to a 50-50 relationship, knowing fully well that as a female gender, you need to work twice or 3 times or more than the male gender. A job that a male can easily get access to, the female gender have to work extra hard to get access to that same job. So it doesn't really make sense, because such relationship brings a great strain into the marriage or any relationship that agrees into a 50-50 type. Is it not that when two people agree to come together in a relationship, are they not supposed to love each other 100%? Is the female gender who professes to love the male bring in to the relationship her 100%? Is the male gender who professes to love the female bring in to the relationship his 100%, so as to be able to work things together with each party bringing into the relationship their 100%, in that the 100% of the contribution of the female in that relationship gives a better chance for a successful relationship, be it morally, emotionally, and mentally. Same goes with the male gender. Whatever 100% the male is capable of contributing in that relationship should be contributed emotionally, morally, and mentally. So that in that relationship, if the man has a better job than the woman and is able to bring in good salary, but the woman has to sacrifice her time because she's the nurturing one to take care of the children, and in addition probably has a part-time job but is not able to bring in as much financially, but still is able to bring in something. So she's contributing her bit. She's contributing her 100%, while the man is also contributing his 100%. When the man then gets back from work, does not mean that he's contributed his part of the 50% relationship, then avoids attending to anything round the house, knowing fully well that the woman has been home taking care of their children. That's the time for the man to say, woman, you have been doing your bit at home and you've also had to go to work and come back. Let me take it up from here. And the woman also should understand that, hey, this man has been out all day working. You understand that by the time he gets home, he will be hungry. He will need some food. Part of your 100% contribution should be that you make sure that there's availability of food at home, especially in an individualistic society where oftentimes people have to do things themselves. People are not fully dependent on others but themselves, as opposed to a communal society where people are dependent on family members to help them with the children or other things that is needed to be done. So the society where this couple live has to be taken into consideration on how to better explore their relationship to suit their need, their lifestyle, and whatever challenges that comes with that society or that comes with that relationship. As I find that in ancient African culture, and that still, some of that tradition still exists today, communalism was the normative culture whereby family members, friends are there to support. For example, grandmas are around to take care of the children while the woman takes a break to attend to other things in the relationship or have to go to work. Cousins are there, close friends are that one can easily reach out to in trust to help with any aspect of their life that support is needed, as opposed to an individualistic society where people are less dependent on others. So help is not easily reachable or accessible. In that way, it's more difficult. And this is where the 50-50 comes in. But when this 50-50 is being spoken about, is usually on the finance. The other aspect of the relationship is not considered, especially at home. You find that most marriages have such struggle when it comes to the male gender helping out, especially when the male gender is not sensitive to the needs of the female gender. So you have these struggles which eventually affects the relationship and sometimes wears the relationship out and creates breakdown of communication between both parties. So to wrap this up, 50-50 relationship is not applicable in all areas of a relationship. Where it truly works is when the male gender in that relationship is able to bring a certain level of finance and the female gender is able to match that same level of finance, thereby being able to split that finance in an equal contributing way, which is today referred to as the 50-50 relationship. Aside the economics, is really not workable. It only creates more chaos in a relationship, especially where the woman contributes less financially, or even in some cases, it's the man that contributes less than the woman. Some cases, there are some women who are lucky to find themselves earning good salaries and they happen to be the breadwinners in that relationship. And so the man is not able to match up financially what the woman can bring to the table in that relationship. So for one to be able to apply this, one has to take into consideration one's situation, because all situations are different, you know. Aside the economics of it, the 50-50 relationship is unworkable, because when it comes to relationship, morally or sexually, you both have to bring in your 100% to one another. Because if you profess to love the other person, it's got to be 100%, not 50%. You don't want the other person giving you 50% of themselves either. You want 100% of them. So the 50-50 relationship makes it more of a contractual type of relationship. So it's like a business type of relationship. It's no longer, oh, I love you from my heart dearly, but I love you because of what you can put on the table economically. Addressing this matter in a complementing way might likely be more ideal. And also in a communal way, whereby each party in that relationship has accessibility to family members like grandparents who are available, siblings who care and are there for you, cousins who are truly interested in your welfare, and if you're lucky, close friends who can provide that needed supportive system. With this, I say thank you very much for watching and listening. Take care. Bye.